This video is brought to you by the Farmer Klein YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another Farming Simulator 22 map first impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at Bandeirantes Farm. But before that, this video is brought to you by Chasey Dog and Peter Does Farming. Thank you for being farm barons. So the Bandeirantes map, and that's going to be, thank you Google Translate for somehow trying to pronounce that. The map can be found over at the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu, and as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for all platforms. Now, let's read a little bit of the description. Bandeirantes Farm is a Brazilian map with terrain in real life from a region between two different cities in a state for which I can't pronounce. This map has 39 fields, medium to large, 2 new crops in rice and Carioca beans, a city with market that accepts various products. Grains in general can be sold at 2 different warehouses on the map. Supermarket accepts various products such as potatoes, beets, milk, and pallets. Needing limestone, well then take it over to the limestone vendor and buy some limestone. Bales in general can be sold at the Saddlery. Milk should be sold at the supermarket or the dairy if you wish to do some production. You start with 1 main farm containing sheds to store your machinery, as well as a sleep trigger, 1 silo to store grains, a silo to store pallets and bales, poultry, fuel, 2 car wash sprayers, pigsty, cow confinement, 2 silage bunkers. The map also has a sugarcane sell point. Now, this map does have several required mods, as you can see, and overall, this map is going to require 429 megabytes of disk space after you factor in the mod and the map itself. So again, after you factor in all the required mods and the map itself, we're looking at 429 megabytes in size. Let's go ahead and load on in. Now, in addition to those required mods, we are going to be using the mods we typically use when we look at maps. They are additional field info, additional game settings, animal food overview, field lease, field calculator, precision farming, and straw harvest. But while we're at it, let's go ahead and run down through all of those required mods, simply rather than just showing the listing. We have the BR metal shed, BR small wood shed pack. We have the Brazilian pigsty. We have the bunker silo set, chicken coop BR. We have classic fences and gates pack, confinement cows with the farm entrance, farm fence pack, as well as the ramp pack, the small farm pack, the small Brazilian warehouses, small Brazilian shed, southern Brazil wood house, and that is going to be it. I will tell you, if you load this map up in farm manager mode or start from scratch, you'll find that all the farms are built out exactly how you see them here in new farm mode. In fact, there is only one particular farm. You do have starting machinery in all game modes, so everything is pretty much exactly the same as you're going to see it here, except not owning any land. With respect to low-end systems, I did have a slight frame problem when I was looking in this general direction. And I don't know if you're going to be surprised or not when I tell you as to why there was a slight frame drop when looking in this general direction. It's the machinery. If we didn't have all the machinery all gathered together, we would not have seen any sort of frame drop. I sold all the starting machinery, and presto, without moving at all, my frames are right back up to a full 60 FPS. So what I would advise is just don't put all your stuff under one shed. There's lots of sheds here. Maybe put it behind a wall, put it behind a door that you can close. That way the game isn't rendering all of these high detailed models in a single place if you do have a lower end system. The system I use to validate low end system performance is one that has integrated AMD graphics. Let's go ahead and take a look at the PDA. As the description said, this map is composed of medium to large fields. This is a standard size map. If we take a look at our lands overview, we start by owning farmland ID 1. That is the main starting farm. That can be bought for $1.8 million. So even if you start this in farm manager mode, you're not going to be able to buy the main starting farm because you don't have enough money without taking out a loan. Now, there are a few little building plots here in town. We have building plot 41, 42, and 43. They can be bought for $13,600, $10,300, and $41,600, respectively. You could put a small farmhouse down here, maybe a small shed to house your pickup truck, and pretend that you're running yourself a little bit of a contract yard. You also have a buildable plot here at Farmland ID 44 for $129,000. Now we do have a sugarcane sell point located here. We have a single production, which is going to be our dairy, which is going to be located there. And that production is custom. So when we do get around to our map tour, we will be buying that dairy and taking a look at it. As this map mentioned, we do have all the standard crops available to us in FS22, as well as rice and Carioca beans. Let's go ahead and take a look at our farmland lease screen. This is going to show us all of the viable farmlands, how large those farmlands are, if those farmlands include any field or fields, what is included. Then lastly, how much is that farmland going to cost us? Taking a look at our field calculator screen, we can see the sizes of each particular field. So we have fields ranging in size from, let's say, 2 hectares all the way up to 12.45 on this list. This map does make use of a custom soil map. So let's go ahead and see how that soil map is being applied to these fields. Now I want to talk a little bit about this custom soil map. This is the standard generic soil map. Now I said it was custom because if we look in the log and we scroll up enough, we will see that the soil map is being called from the map directly, as opposed to from the precision farming mod. And that is where I derive the statement that this map is using a custom soil map. So right here we can see the line load soil map. Then we have the map name, maps data info layer underscore soil map GRLE. So if that was precision farming mod, then it would say precision farming here as opposed to the map name itself. But this is very much the generic soil map. I have seen it plenty of times before to know what I'm looking at. Now, with respect to our crop counter, we do have a Southern Hemisphere crop counter going on. We start in February as opposed to our normal starting month of August. And as such, we have very different growth and planting schedules. We do have a custom schedule for our Carioca beans and rice as well. With respect to our prices screen, we do have the ability to sell all of our basic crops that are available to us here in FS22, as well as our eggs, wool, and milk, and our silage, hay, straw, and grass. With respect to all of our base game production items, we do indeed have the ability to sell all of our base game production items as well. That is always a good thing to see. We do have the ability to buy bulk lime, but one thing that we don't have the ability to do, well, we don't have the ability to sell our stones. So if we do play with stones enabled, we will need to put our own stone processing center down. Here we have multiple sell points for our rice, as well as our Carioca beans. With respect to our farm production pack, we do not have the ability to sell any of our washed root crops, but we do have the ability to sell our platinum expansion production items. And that is always a good thing to see. Now, with respect to our premium expansion production items, we once again do indeed have the ability to sell those. If you are playing with pumps and hoses, we do have the ability to sell our separated manure. And if you are playing with straw harvest, we do have the ability to do our hay and straw pellets. We have a fairly large listing of starting machinery. It is all owned, none of it is leased, and some of it could use a little bit of maintenance. We do have 5 pigs and 150 chickens at the start. We also have an empty cow barn at the main starting farm. We do have contracts available on this map, and we do not own the only production chain that is available, which is the dairy. Now, this map does have 20 collectibles. They are the Holt Featherune game cartridges, and they're pretty much primarily going to be found down in town. With respect to our starting fleet of vehicles, we have the Farmall 120C small tractor. That is part of the Farmall Case 100 anniversary pack, I believe. That is where you've got that. So if you don't have that pack, I don't think you're going to see that particular tractor. We have the Valtra Q305 and the Valtra Vamet 8750 medium tractors. We have the John Deere 7R 350 large tractor, as well as the New Holland CR 10.90 harvester. For our harvester, we have the Verifeed 41-foot grain header. And we have then the Nardi N6040 header trailer. We got the AgriLiner MUK 303 trailer. We have the AgroSim 8-meter Culti-Plow subsoiler. The ES Pro 6000 RC seeder that is set up for rice and our Carioca beans. We have our John Deere 1775 NT planter, and that is also set up for those Carioca beans. We have a Hardy Mega 1200L sprayer and spray front tank that is going to be for liquid fertilizer and herbicide. The Breedall K165 fertilizer and lime spreader. We've got the Farson PF 2.24 Plus TMR mixer, the Primor 15070M bale shredder, and the ABI attachment 1600 water tanker. We have the MES 500 silage leveler, John Deere 700M front loader arms, as well as the Hauer XB 150 front loader arms. For the front loader arms, we have the single bag, big bag lifter, and then we wrap it up with a LaForge Easy 1700 John Deere front weight. That is clearly going to be for our 7R350. With respect to mods and DLCs, this map does not have any. As far as our starting farm goes, we do have a nice entry gate here, and everything you see can indeed be sold, including the gate and the fences. Very nice sheds here at the farm. As I said, we've got all of our machinery, or most of our machinery, piled up under these two sheds. And this is what's going to drag down your frames if you have a lower end system. All of that machinery all in a single place. We have our farmhouse located right here. Oh, with our dog. And our sleep trigger. And our wardrobe trigger. Got a little loading ramp here for loading and unloading machinery off of a trailer. We have a drive-through silage bunker. In fact, we have another drive-through silage bunker right down here. We have our bale storage. 250 bales or pallets. Going to be loaded there. Some more machinery. Storage there. We've got our silo dump point. Nice storage associated with that. And we have our silo fill here out the back. We make our way around this fence. We're going to come over here to our chicken coop. For that, we have our maintenance trigger. Well marked out. Here we have that small case farm all. So we have our egg spawn point. We have our food dump. And then we have our chicken buy trigger. We're going to have a total of 2,000 chickens in this facility. We start out with 150. We do have chickens animated inside. We got some more of our machinery in our doghouse. And now the pigs and the cows are going to be on the other side of this fence. So we have our food for our pigs. We have our delivery point for our pigs. We have 5. We can have a total of 43 in this confinement area. And we do have a water trigger there as well. Now you maybe hear the ticking. That is the electric fence right here. Don't get too close or you will get shocked. We have our slurry point for our cows, and we have our cow delivery point located right here. 200 cows total for this facility. Here we have our manure heap. Then we have our food trough located right here. Straw triggers inevitably going to be obviously inside of there. And that, everyone, is going to be the starting farm here at this map. And there's only one farm on this particular map. It's spread out over a fairly large area here. And again, everything you see here can be completely sold. So you can sell it all off and start however you want. And in all game modes, everything you see here is pre-placed. Now we do have a long lane to get up here to this farm area. And in fact, on the other end of this lane, we're going to find some more sheds and a fuel point. A second fuel point. There's one back there at the farm as well. So here we have some more sheds. Another fuel point. And then a washing station. And this is all part of Farmland ID 1. And obviously you see the sizes of these fields. These fields are easily merged if you wish to, because they are simply separated by a little dirt track. So be very careful with respect to large machinery and hired helpers. Depending on how you start them off, they can and may jump these particular dirt tracks and start suddenly working on other fields. So just a general warning. But those of you that like to merge fields should have zero issue whatsoever on this particular map. You do have the ability to draw water out of these water locations. And now we're making our way over to the town. The vast majority of this map is going to be dedicated to agriculture. Over here to the left, we have our sugarcane sell point. And at this sugarcane sell point, we also have the ability to buy manure and liquid manure or slurry. So we're going to be buying our slurry from right here. And we're going to be buying our manure from this point right over here. And then if we have sugarcane to sell, we're going to be able to drop that off right there. Getting into here is a little strange. You got to come all the way through town, and as you're making your way out of town into the jungle, we'll call it, you got to hang yourself a left. If we continue this route, well, we're going to be able to make a right turn and wind our way up and around and around until we come out way over here. And this is going to be our lime buy point. We're going to be able to get lime from here. Would be nice if we had our stone crusher down here, but since we don't, you can pretty much place one wherever you want. We have two main places to sell our grain on this map. This is going to be one of those two places. And you're going to deposit your grain in this building right here. Making our way into town, we have 3 empty lots. Lot 1, Lot 2, and then Lot 3 is in behind this building. Those are the 3 buildable lots that you could have. Then behind that, we have the second grain sell point. Coming back into town here, we have the dairy. I mentioned we were going to buy the dairy because the dairy has a little bit of a custom production. So we have 2 drop-off points here, one for normal products and one is for wood, because we do have a wood sell icon located right here. if we do not own the dairy, we're going to be able to sell our normal dairy things here, and we're going to be able to sell wood located right here. We do have a pallet spawn point located under this roof, but if we happen to own the dairy, well, then we can do various productions. We're going to be able to buy the dairy for $70,000, and then at that point, we're going to be able to make butter, cheese, and chocolate. But to do that, we're going to require milk and wood to make our butter. We're going to require milk and wood to make our cheese, and milk, sugar, and wood to make our chocolate. So we have a wood-fired dairy located here. I have an interesting little spin. We make our way down the road. Central drag here. To the right, we have our fuel point. To the left, we have our vehicle dealer. This is a John Deere dealer. We're going to have to go inside in order to get to our dealer trigger itself. And we have a huge area for our machinery to spawn. We also have a pretty decent area for our exit here. And the roads are not too terrible bad here in town. As far as our dealer workshop trigger, we have the activation icon right there. And then we have the marked out area there as well. On this end of town, we have our animal dealer. And then we'll make our way back down the main drag. And on the way out of town, and we have our fuel point here on the left. On our way out of town, we have our grocery sell point here on the right. We have a wool and cotton sell point on the right, on the left. But here we have our completely blanking, our bale sell point. And again, we're going to hang a left here. That's going to take us back to our sugar processor. And if we continue down this way, we're going to be able to make a right over here to the lime plant. And now we're making our way all the way back over here to our starting farm. Now, with respect to our scoring, we're going to give the map a full point with respect to production being built in or areas set aside for such, because we do have a single production built in the map, and that is all of our requirements. With respect to the ability to sell all of our basic crops, animal outputs, and production points, we're going to be giving the map a full point there as well. While we did note that we do not have the ability to sell stones on this map, that is not a requirement to get a full point. The farm can indeed be completely customizable. We can sell everything at the farm as well as at the little remote location just center on the screen right there. So once again, a full point there. Now, with respect to buildings where appropriately are using the new texturing technique. Sadly, a lot of these custom buildings are not using the new texturing technique. A lot of the buildings down in town are also not using that new technique. So we're going to give the map a half a point there. With respect to trigger and interactive players being clearly marked, well, all of them were clearly marked in my opinion. So we are going to give the map, once again, a full point there. That's going to wrap this map up with a score of 4.5 out of 5. I'd love to know your all's thoughts down in the comments below. What do you think of this particular map? What do you think of South American maps in general? I personally really like this map from the standpoint that we do have a Southern Hemisphere growth schedule. Therefore, we start in February as opposed to August, and all of the crops are planting and harvesting as they would be in the Southern Hemisphere as opposed to the Northern Hemisphere, which we see way too often on South American style maps. And until next time, happy farming.